Just a little bit.
Right here again, love.
One more straight ahead, right there. A little smile in there.
I would say kind of her nerves and her apprehension. I think that's like one of my favorite things about her is that she's very willing to do things kind of that with that nervous and scared energy. She kind of uses it to motivate her. So definitely coming into this role, I was like very nervous. So I kind of had to use that.
Beautiful smile.
Right next to her over here, please.
Catherine on your right.
Tommy Kail is like the most comforting and warm energy you could ever imagine, but he's also so professional. He knows exactly how to get what he wants without like frightening you or like overworking you. So kind of having him on my side and on my team, it was like having a friend there. It was like having like a comrade in this. And whenever I was doing something, Tommy was doing something. So we were very much in it together. Definitely in the village, getting to interact with all of our beautiful villagers, a lot of whom are here and going to dance today. So getting to see them earlier today and getting to it was insane it almost felt like I was back in my village. I think it proves that it's not the place that you are, it's the people that you're with. I hope they connect with the things that they remember and the new things that we're bringing in. I hope they love this version of Moana the same way I love the OG version of Moana. I just hope that people can kind of celebrate that this is now a part of the Moana legacy.
Right in front of you, sir. Right here. All that.
And then John, looking right
Give me a
here.
smile.
And then one more glance.
Euphoric for me. I've been acting for over 20 years, and I never thought that I'd ever be part of a Polynesian musical, because that's what, I grew up watching, West Side Story, just so many, and to have one that's based around our cultures is so significant to the growth of us on screen. And I think telling those stories, empowering young women, empowering families, it's amazing. I had to dust off a lot. The theatre is my background, and then to do this and to do it well, I had huge shoes to fill with the singing from Te Waka and Tim Morrison's voicing of the character. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I had fun. You have to have fun when you're doing these things and telling this story. I think Moana, the character, represents the coming of age of thinking, where the young people want to explore more, and we are bound by parents and their unconditional suffocation and love, right? And I think it's a great story for that. As a father and as a person who's played this character, what I learned from it was to listen to my children. I've got 5, and I've just had a 2-year-old baby, and when I shot this movie, I took that fatherly love, and I hope I displayed that well in the movies.
And straight ahead, sweetie. Right here. Give me a little smile, darling.
And then looking right down the middle. There it is. Hold that.
Oh my goodness, I feel like she's so tender and observant, and I think we only saw a glimpse of that in the animation, so it was really nice to dive deeper and bring, sort of humanize her in a way. So I felt really proud to bring my own version, but also pay homage to the original, and I hope that people like it. Yes, on the first night shoot, when it was dark and all the follies were lit up with fire, and I could feel that it was a Disney film, and I felt like I had to take a moment, like, oh my goodness, I'm in a magical Disney film and my favorite one, so it was quite a moment. I'm just hoping that they have a lovely time. I think that you're going to laugh, you're going to cry, you're going to feel empowered, and I imagine that you'll leave skipping and feeling really hopeful and lovely.
Right next to him, please. Right down here in front.
Rena, just a glance.
Epic. A blessing, a privilege. I have the profound privilege of being Grandma Tala, and you couldn't get, as an actress or as an actor, you couldn't get a more beautiful, profound role. So to be cast in this movie, especially for the South Pacific where I'm from, is of major significance. I think one of the main themes of the story is about Te Whiti, and in Polynesian culture, Te Whiti we call Papatuanuku. She's our earth mother, so our culture is we come from the land and the ocean. And I think for humanity in general is what happens to Te Whiti when her heart is stolen, she turns into te kā. And that's what happens to humans. And I think the more profound message here about when somebody's heart is stolen or hurt, what they then become, but once you heal and you restore that heart, we become te whiti again. So I think it's a really, I know I'm getting deep and meaningful, but I think it's a profound message for humanity, and I think it's one of the reasons the story succeeded in the first place with the animated story, is we can all identify with an aspect of the story because it is a timeless, international, global story for humanity. It's a wonderful, wonderful message, and all the characters, are just somebody can identify. I think it's why it did so well internationally, is because everyone said that's us. It's in order to be universal, you got to be specific. So it's a Pacific story. I think the other important thing for Grandma Tala is her whole message to Moana is to listen to the voice inside, to listen to her heart, and to follow her heart. And that's how she'll find out who she is. And I think that's a really important message for all of us, to be true to who we are.
Hi, I'm Amaya. I'm 11 turning 12. Hi, I'm Emma, and I'm 6 turning 7. Young Moana. I play baby Moana.
Maya, right here.
Over your shoulder. Amaya, right here.
Amaya, right here.
I would just say singing and dancing. That was really fun to do with my parents. And I just love to do it with everyone. Everyone was really happy doing it, so it was very enjoyable.
Emma, looking right here.
Are you waving all the time?
Emma, looking right here.
Right here.
Look at the hand. There you go. There you go.
I would like being on the beach and just being in the ocean and just looking at the water.
Hold it.
Love it.
Yeah, really close. Right here, John.
My favorite thing about this story is Moana's very determined, and she goes out and gets things, and she does it in such a kind way. She just wants to help everybody and be true to herself. I like just being Moana, and it's fun, but also you have to represent your culture.
Whether you've been on set for 1 day or 1,000 days, we want the same thing. We want to feel safe to do our work. And so it's a very simple job. I need to make sure that everybody is on the same page, that we all know where we're heading and how we're going to head there. So I think communication is the key. If you let people know where you're marching, it's often helpful. And I think there's a lot of hiding of information occasionally in show business, and I like to try to share the information. By having flesh and blood, by having two people look at each other eye to eye, soul to soul, there's an emotionality that we knew we could access that we were really excited about. And also, by having Catherine in the middle of water, it feels different. That sense of danger and adventure is much more heightened, I think. And I think that makes all the payoffs for the sort of epicness of the story pay off. And then, of course, you want to be able to release the tension with the comedy, right? So there's a lot of hey in this movie. We're giving the people what they want. There's a lot of hey in this movie. And that's the thing you also know, is that you have Dwayne arriving. Dwayne's going to come and embody Maui for the first time in this way, and you want to meet that moment. So we want to try to build a world so we understand what Moana's fighting for and what she cares about. So when she intersects with, the so-called villain of our story, there's real conflict there. The key was, where do we need music? And Lynn and I have been doing this since 2002. So we're almost 25 years into this. I don't know, what is this? My gosh. This guy is he's really worrisome. I think if he listens to what people say, he might actually become something. Lynn and I, really since May of 2002 when we met, we've been examining storytelling through music. We've been trying to find where is a moment that needs to be expressed musically because dialogue is not sufficient. And when we looked at this film, they did that so beautifully. Every time we examined something, it didn't feel like it was as natural as we wanted it in terms of how it was flowing out. So when we got to the end of the film and we knew what we had, we realized that something that we could do that we hadn't done in the film was have Moana and Maui sing together. And then we said, what's better than that? 2 Moanas and Maui singing together. And once we said that out loud, I saw Lynn's eyes get big, and I've been doing this with him a long time. And when the eyes get big, just get out of the way. because the song's coming. And very shortly after that, the song emerged. This movie was filled with so many moments that really I had to step back and take that mental picture of. The first day we stepped on set and I was in the village, and we built that village practically, and I was in the middle of Motunui, which was football fields worth of sets and real fales 30, 40 feet high with 200 actors. I thought, how could this get any better? And then we started singing, and I looked over and Lin was to my right, and there was the cast. And I just thought, you know what, this really is about as good as it gets.
And one look right, please. One look right.
It's been a total joy. Tommy Kail is directing. Tommy has directed all my musicals. He directed In the Heights. He directed Hamilton. So it was just an enormous weight off my shoulders when I found out he was the one in charge, and it's been a joy since then.
Rena all the way down one time, to your right.
Sure, it's called Along the Way, and we really wanted to do something only this version could do, which was have a musical conversation and passing of the torch between our OG Moana, Auli'i, and Katie, who does such an amazing job in this movie. And so to have that kind of sisterhood that could only exist in this version was really fun to write to.
Straight ahead.
The moment I got to the island of Motunui in Georgia, I was like, we are through the looking glass. And also, just to say some incredible things about Katie, our Moana, it's one thing to draw a cartoon that can sail on a boat and save the world and fight monsters and sing. It's another thing to find a flesh and blood person who can really do all those things with bravery and openness and honesty. And she really is like a, once in a generation. And I'm so grateful we found her. There's no movie without her. I actually think a lot of people discovered Moana at home. It was the #1 streaming movie during the pandemic. It stays near the top of top streaming movies still. We've never let go of Moana. She's still with us all the time. And so I'm excited for people to see this version on a big screen in Dolby Surround and in the movie theater, because I feel like a lot of people love Moana, but they didn't get that chance.
One more glance right here, please. Hold that chin down just a little. There we go. Beautiful.
Beautiful. Hold that right here, sweetie. Right here, right here.
Auli'i, over the shoulder.
Big smile.
And over the left shoulder.
Unbeknownst to her, I've seen her face for a very long time. I remember in the very initial casting process seeing multiple videos of both her and other young women, and she just always had that spark, that life of Moana. She was brave, she was beautiful, and to see her on these really big billboards, she's killing it. Yeah, I was really excited to put on an EP hat. It is something very new to me, but there are so many invisible hands that make a movie great, and I do think that this is a great movie. So I've learned a lot. It felt like I didn't know what I didn't know, and I am very glad to have learned, just like Moana does, to truly go beyond the reef and put myself out there. Oh, it was a blast. Lin-Manuel Miranda really does know how to make an earworm. He's too good at it, honestly. But Along the Way is kind of this meta song, if you will, where an older Moana is either talking to a younger Moana, or I am truly speaking to Catherine that there is so much that this world has for you, and I will be with you along the way, but you have to go out and grab life. And it feels so lovely to be on the same songs again.
One more glance.
Give me a smile, darling.
Right here down the middle, right here. There it is. Good smile. Chin down just a little. There it is, right?
Sweetie, can you look for one? Smile, darling. Yeah.
It is so nice. I have had so many interviews with, respectfully, people who are not Gen Z. I've had the entire cast experience with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who's fantastic, but again, is not a Gen Z young woman. It has been so nice to have a sister in this process and to make eye contact with her as we are traveling around the globe and saying, hey, how are you doing? It can be exhausting, and I am an only child in real life, but it kind of feels like I have a little sister. I also watched the end credits to Moana 2, and I also wonder where the story is going to go. So you're not getting anything out of me, but maybe we'll find Dwayne later tonight, huh? Oh, I think there's so much to take away from this film. I mean, Moana connects with so many young individuals, not just women, but truly the fact that she is the heroine of her own story, that she will grab a demigod by the ear and say, you will right the imbalance between man and nature that you have caused. There are so many wonderful morals that everyone can take away from it, but if I could choose one, it would be that. I think our original film was almost perfect. And something that this film does is it brings it even larger than the version I even knew before. So I'm excited for people to see new Easter eggs and hear new jokes. There's something for our returning fans and something for our new fans as well.
As the first Pacific Islander woman to take the helm on the page with Moana's story, it was really important to me that we were really true to who she is. You know, she is a girl that never quits, and I wanted to make sure that we were honoring that. At the same time, really trying to dig into the vulnerability that comes with being a human 17, 16-year-old girl on the ocean. That was the biggest challenge and the most exciting thing, because it's one thing to be animated. It's another thing to have a young woman out on the open sea, all on her own, and to really live with that. I just really hope that we get to experience the joy and the hope that comes with this journey, and that audiences are as inspired as I am in her story, and that, you know, I find so much courage in everything that she does, and I hope it's a tough world out there. I hope people can find some joy this weekend when they go see this movie. Tommy is he's an actor's director and he has a lot of experience, so I'm really excited to see what he comes up with.
We actually don't have a word in our language, any Polynesian language, for choreography, because it's so much more. It's not just moves, it's storytelling, it's genealogy, it's a reminder of our ancestry, and just Mother Nature, the vibration of our environment. I wove this into the world of Moana since 2016. First animated, now live action. It's so embedded in our culture from such a young age. It's not performative, it's a part of life. I had to weave in parts of Polynesia to represent, and it's very heavily influenced in Samoa and Tonga specifically, but we foreshadow maybe the future Moanas, that's where the canoe goes. She hadn't had dance experience before, but honestly, day one in the studios, we met in LA, the first time I saw her move in a Polynesian shape, I got emotional. Because beyond the film, I'm like, this is in your bones, it's in your blood, this is a part of you. So just awakening that was worth more than any movie can be. It was more of like a personal victory.
Excellent.
Well, I knew there was a lot out there, which was the great thing, but it was being able to honour each culture and show it off in its most authentic way possible. So, you know, this was the most fun job. I couldn't have wished for anything better than this, yeah. Oh, when all the Motunui was together, and you know, we had 200 villagers there, and we had Moana and Chief Tui and Sina, and it really felt, I don't know, there's no better word than real. You know, the Motunui felt real, and it was filled with song and dance, and we have a Tongan word which is mawhana, when it feels warm, you know, and fear when you're celebrating and enjoying, and that's what I loved about it. The authenticity was key to it, and in that we were able to tell each character's story through the prints. You know, as tapa is, you know, an art form, that you're telling people's history, you're telling their present, you're telling their future as well. So, being able to round out the characters and give them all their own personality, you know, their own status, you know, and that was really exciting.
The difference really, for example, with animated feature is that the world already, you know, you're building a whole world. Whereas with the visual effects, the world already exists, and now you're bringing digital characters and trying to integrate that with that world. And I find that really fascinating. And for us, it was really important to make, one of the things that was very challenging is having the actors interact with the digital characters, for example, with Tamatoa. So that was really important for us to get that right and get it to feel really integrated and get, the interaction between between the actor and the character to really work and feel real. Well, I mean, there were so many aspects in that film that, we all loved working on this film. It was such a special film to work on, and there was such an amazing collaboration with the film director, with all the teams that were involved. And I remember when we were working on some of the character designs, and then there was a bit of exploration and finding and being like, yes, that's the character, that's the right fit. And the same with animation, when you tried out the different performances, and we looked at a lot of reference and a lot of the acting and the voice intonation from the actors, and it was really, really fun to explore it and feel like now we've got it. We got the character, it feels right. So yeah. Oh, we definitely looked at coconut crabs. We look at a lot of reference for everything we do. So we study a lot of the reference, the anatomy. There was a lot of that. We brought a bunch of different photography to the table. And then, of course, what we wanted was a stylized character. So it wasn't supposed to look just like the cartoon. It wasn't going to be photoreal because, he needed that comedy and that sort of comedic effect. So it definitely needed to be a stylized character. So it was a bit of a blend of looking what made him so beloved in the original one, and then also with a real live crab, and blending the two and kind of finding that perfect medium that we found.
All right, right here together. Eyes right here together. All right.
And right here from me. Hang on.
The idea of adapting Moana from animation to live action is a huge responsibility. What was really important first and foremost is that we really captured the kind of the culture and get that right in the movie. A lot of things change. You have a lot more latitude in animation. Live action, there's a lot more parameters and boundaries. And so for us, casting the movie was a real challenge. This is a movie where you're like, oh, we'll figure it. Everyone would ask me who's going to play Moana. I'm like, oh, we'll find her. And then meanwhile, I'd lay in bed every night, like staring at the ceiling, like, who's going to play Moana? And we found her. Catherine Laga'aia is incredible. The rest of the cast is extraordinary. Obviously, Dwayne is Maui. And then also is in terms of the look and feel of the film. Moana broke a lot of ground in terms of capturing the beauty of Motunui. And so that really set the bar really high for us visually. And the movie's photoreal, so that was a real challenge. It's going to be like a VFX kind of looking film. And lastly is we felt like one thing that we could achieve with this movie is heart and emotion because of human beings inside the role. So this movie is a lot of humanity. It's very emotional. I cry very, very often throughout the film. So I hope that the audience kind of, feels the same as I do. Yeah, I think the Moana moment for me, and this is it's not really a spoiler because the entire world has seen the animated film, but when Grandma Tala dies and that kind of activates Moana, it's a really, it's like we all have grandmothers. If you haven't lost them, sadly, life does come calling. And, when I lost my grandmother, it was a really, really rough moment for me. We were very close. So when she loses Grandma Tala and activates her to kind of go beyond the reef and go further than she's ever been and go save her village, that moment inside the movie is really powerful and lands in a major way. And that's when I was watching that scene, I was like, we have something special here.
Stay with me. Almost done. Last one. Eyes right there. Got it.
And sir, right here.
What excited me about this project, about going from animation to live action, is actually doing something with actual human beings in front of the camera. As much as I love the animated version, this gives it a whole different kind of life. It gives it something that's just much more organic. You're feeling the people. It's a very different, elevated experience that can serve side by side with the movie, with the animated film. So these, I think, will be looked at many years from now as sort of a duo that you can watch. You can watch one, watch the other, and a very different experience, but both wonderful. Well, Tommy, I have to say, was one of the reasons I was super excited. I'm a huge Hamilton fan. I probably saw the show, I think, 7 times. So when I heard that Tommy was the director, that in of itself, I knew the kind of talent that he was going to bring to it, the kind of humanity that he brings to it, because Tommy really connects with these subtleties of emotion, the way that he was able to get performances out of the actors and be sensitive to sort of the entire cultural side of this as well. He was the guy, and there was nobody better than Tommy at understanding the multi-layers of what this movie required. I think they're going to be most surprised by how they will find ways to identify themselves with human beings, actual real-life characters on the screen. They will relate differently to it, which is one of the fabulous experiences of seeing a movie in a theater or at home video eventually, but being able to relate in a different way, and I think it's very exciting.
Friends, here at the Hollywood Bowl, please welcome to the stage composer and producer of Moana, Lin-Manuel Miranda, and director of Moana, Thomas Kail.
Hello. Hello. This represents so many people all across this country and 4 continents that worked on the film. So our producers, DJ, of course, Auli'i, Beau, Scott, Charles, JW, and this guy. Our intrepid cast, Rena Owen, John Tui, Frankie Adams, Catherine Laga'aia, and introducing Dwayne Johnson. I can't wait for you guys to meet him.
You're going to hear big things from that guy in the future.
I mean, the smile is real, and so is the wig. There's no better way to commence this particular part of the celebration than to introduce one of our dear collaborators, Tiana, and the wonderful Kayla, and this marvelous group of dancers. Please enjoy the film.
Enjoy the show and enjoy the movie.
No. Let's go, fire!
Every once in a while in Hollywood, we make a film that is more than a film. It's more than a movie, and I think you could feel it already tonight with our culture and with what we have represented, but also not only our Polynesian culture, and you see the love and the passion and the mana here tonight under the stars, but it's also a shared culture around the world. So I'm so happy and grateful that all of you are here tonight. I've invited so many of you. Thank you so much for coming tonight, by the way. It means so much. I'm so happy that you guys are able to share this film for the first time ever. We're showing the film. So excited for you to see the movie.
No, excuse me.
Smile, look straight ahead.